I don't know. I be sitting here like waiting and shit. Like, oh, when people just gonna start flooding to the live and shit. Like my shit be popping like that. Man, but nah. So I actually wanted to just tap on here for a second. There was something that hold up. Oh shit. My bad. Quick change. All right. So there was something that I wanted to talk about. Um, but actually, before I even get into that, I want to say, Clue the Don, Country Fan Mail Podcast. If you don't already know, if you're finding me randomly in these YouTube live streams, make sure that you subscribe to my podcast. It's gonna be, it's definitely the hottest place for new and up and coming artist interviews. Shout out to my most recent interviews. Shout out to Cookie Kawaii. She came through. Amazing interview. That interview drops on Friday, so make sure that you tap in for that. Super humble, super dope. Definitely owe her a lot. You know what I'm saying? For sure, for sure. Shout out to Jada Protagonist all the way out there in Japan. Tapped into his interview, his whole camp, the Hilt, doing their thing. Shout out to the homie PB Mogul. Shout out to the homie who I interviewed recently, the Fat Boy. Shout out to man, I feel like there's so many people. If I'm missing anybody, please forgive me. A lot of the reason why I probably am mixing up names right now is kind of why I'm going live. I'm not gonna call anybody out by name because I don't like to. I don't like to. I'm not gonna. I don't like to tarnish people's names. But at the same time, if you feel like this is about you, it probably is about you. And understand that this is not in a way for me to be talking shit. It's just a reality. So when you set up, excuse me, when you're about to go on somebody's podcast, like I feel like it's you have to understand that it's not just like, regardless if you reach out to the podcast or if the podcaster reaches out to you, if you're out here trying to do something, you out here making noise, you're doing things, moving musically and shit like that, you have to really think about that shit like an opportunity for you as well. It's not just an opportunity for the podcast to interview you. It's an opportunity for you to be interviewed. It's an opportunity for people to tap in with you. There's always an opportunity, unless you're, I don't know, Drake or Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're somebody like that, there's always an opportunity that somebody has not heard of you. No matter how big you are, how much you buzzing, what you doing your thing. So with that being said, treat everybody's podcast the same way that you would treat those big name podcasts, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, shout out to No Jumper, shout out to Say Cheese, shout out to $1 million worth of games, shout out to you know what I'm saying, all those podcasts. Like you would be on time for those podcasts. You know what I'm saying? If you had the opportunity to be on No Jumper, let's just be honest. If you had the opportunity to be on No Jumper, you gonna make sure you on time. You gonna be extra on time. You gonna be early as a motherfucker. You gonna make sure that you in there. You gonna be looking your cleanest. You gonna be fresh. You gonna make sure that you presented yourself well. All that stuff like that. The part that I kind of have issue understanding is I know I keep doing my hand all types of ways. My hand hurts, y'all. um, the part that I have issue understanding is like I'm not a major podcast. I'm not a major podcast right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm building my ship. We're gonna be there one day for sure, for sure. But for real, if y'all ain't really doing media shit and if y'all haven't really been in the media eye, and this is going straight out to the artists, new ones, people I hadn't talked to, people that I had to reschedule with, people that, I might not try to reschedule with, it is what it is. Um Utilize the opportunity to be on my podcast and fuck up. I've said this so many different times. I don't care if you come on my podcast and you're not the best. I don't care if you come on my podcast and you're not really good at interviews and shit. As long as you're not just sitting there, like, not answering anything. Because, like, some of y'all motherfuckers, some people will get to these big ass podcasts and don't want to answer no questions. With that also being said, I ain't going to ask you no incriminating shit on my podcast. I'm not gonna ask you about no charges. I'm not gonna ask you about, what I'm saying, nothing that was troubling. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're diving into the content of your music and your mindset behind your music and we get into some deep shit, you know what I'm saying, that's something completely different. But I'm not gonna sit up there and purposely try to make you feel uncomfortable. And that's what a lot of these big podcasts is gonna do. I feel like that's their goal. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, shout out to some of those same ones that I threw out. Academic, you know, shout out to them same ones that I tossed out. They some of the same ones that they gonna press you. I'm not here to press you. I'm here to just get motherfuckers to, you know what I'm saying, to pay attention, to listen. Where a country fan mail, where a fan makes a fan. Anybody that I ask to come on to my show, I try to be a fan of them first. And anybody that asks me to come on to my show, I do my best to dive into their shit and to learn more about them and to actually become a fan of their music. Even if I don't listen to that type of shit, I will dive into your stuff enough and find shit that I like. So that brings me to my next point, and actually my final point. I'm not going to get too long-winded about this. It doesn't matter what platform you go on to, there's always a certain amount of effort. I mean, especially if it's gonna be a decent interview, there's always a certain amount of effort on the person who's doing the interview to really, you know what I'm saying, you gotta do that research, you gotta dive in, you gotta dive deep, you gotta learn shit about the person, you know what I'm saying, you wanna make it interesting. So with that, don't waste that person's time, especially if they're doing all that stuff, cause I mean, that takes time out of niggas' days. Like that literally takes time out of motherfuckers' day, and I look at time like currency. Time is literally currency for me. So it's like you take time out of people's days, and the shit don't pan out. Now I get it. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? There's been times that I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like I it ain't happened too many times. I ain't gonna hold you. Like I'm pretty on my shit if I'm being honest. But there's been a time that I fucked up and I had to own it. You know what I'm saying? And if that person they want to, but that would have been on me. I wouldn't have been able to do that. But at the same time, you got to understand that shit is the same way on the opposite end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I put in all this time to learn, and not just am I learning, I'm building fucking flyers and promo and shit. Like I'm really trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit takes time. Like I don't know if motherfuckers really think that, you know what I'm saying, you just throw a whole bunch of image into a generator and that shit just pops out the way it does. Nah. It takes time to actually do that shit. That's why I pushed out those time lapse videos. You see how fast them bitches was moving? That whole time lapse was probably 30 minutes long. Now 30 minutes you might not think is a long time to do that shit, but when you're doing that shit all the time for multiple people and all of a sudden that shit don't pan out, you like, what the fuck? I'll be doing that shit while I'm at work sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not spending time with my wife. I'm not doing my homework. I'm not playing my game, scratching my balls, whatever else I could be doing. I'm not doing it. So you have to remember, like, if people putting in that effort, like, you got to take that shit seriously. Don't play around with people's times. Don't play around with people's money. That's really what it really comes down to. Like, just don't play with people's money. And as I said on the onset, and I'll say it again, this isn't to bash nobody. I don't want nobody to see this shit and be like, oh shit, Clue talking shit about me. Because I am talking about specific situations, but I'm not calling nobody out personally because, like I said, I'm not mad. I'm not pissed off, and I'm not gonna ruin nobody's name or reputation. But at the same time, there is a certain amount of it where it's just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Don't bullshit me because I'm not bullshitting you. I'm really putting in this time and this effort. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really be bumping y'all niggas shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, sharing it, putting other motherfuckers on. You know what I'm saying? Shout out, so like, like just today, shout out to to Matt Parker. I put, so my homie, I shared that joint. I'm just here for the vibe and two step, go right, and you gotta move left. Raise your arm, gotta show the both play. I was like, this is the fucking vibe. I shared that shit. My homie was just like, hey, bet, subscribe, tell them to subscribe to my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all it's about. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel that shit. I don't need anything for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like people really be fucking with other people's shit. When I know that I posted an artist and then I see like that put artists posting shit and then people that I fucked with liking their shit because I know that I connected, that's what it's fucking for. I can't wait till I see some of the artists that I know good and well met because of they were both on my platform and they do a collab or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's type of shit that I'm excited for. But that ain't ever gonna happen if you can't bring your ass onto the goddamn show and be on fucking time, you know what I'm saying? Or if you can't do it, you know what I'm saying, just say something. Say something ahead of time. Don't wait until right before. And damn near don't wait until after. Cause you know what I'm saying, like And I'm a pretty blunt person. I try my best to um to I ain't gonna say filter it, but I be really trying my best because I have a different mindset as the veteran in me. Sometimes it switches on and switches off, but like we really, what I'm saying, there has to be a little bit more accountability on both sides, what I'm saying, to really try to make this shit work. Because there's a lot of things that can really be done beautifully and really can be a lot of good pieces, what I'm saying? Like I've had some really, really amazing interviews. And if you feel like I'm talking to you and if you haven't actually checked out one of my interviews, and this is like no shade, whatever, there's plenty of people that came onto my platform that had not checked out one of my interviews before they came on. That's fine. But I promise you after they came on they did. And I mean, it's like there's not too many things I'm gonna pop my shit about, but I know I'm a good interviewer, and I make people feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you want to wait until, what I'm saying, you want to wait until you get on one of those big ass platforms, and you got thousands and thousands and thousands of people looking at you to learn how to talk in front of a camera. By all means, you know what I'm saying? Do your thug, do your thing. Like hey, I'm with you. Rock with it. I'm gonna be the, you know what I'm saying? Like if I fuck with you, I'm gonna support you. Cool. But I'm also gonna be looking at your ass a little funny if you on that motherfucking platform fucking up. I'm like, yep, should have done that shit on Country Family. But yeah, with that being said, man, yeah, make sure that y'all tap in. Like I said, I got some really dope interviews. Oh, Medina, that's the one. That's the interview I meant to. I was like, I know there was somebody else. Yeah, shout out to Medina out there in New York. That was a really dope interview. But yeah, yeah, definitely shout out to. Like I said, I had the Cookie Kauai interview yesterday. That was yesterday, Saturday. That was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah, shout out to her. What I'm saying? That was really, really dope interview. If you haven't checked out her music, definitely check it out. It's a vibe. Like, it's a vibe. Like you gonna be moving when you listen to her shit. What's my favorite track? I'm glad you asked. My favorite Cookie Kauai track right now. Um, I've been banging that Let Me 2021 like a lot because like I don't know, it's something about that track. Like it's just so like it's just beautiful. Like it's just so beautiful. It just takes such a dynamic turn. And like in the background, the harmony in the background is crazy. I love that track. I was going hard to that in the gym this morning. Um, Let Me 2021. Let me go to another artist. Jada Protagonist. What's my favorite song from him? I think I told him it was Violin. Violin is dope. By the way, Jay, if you watching this or if you watch this, go check out the comments. Somebody said something about remaking the violin track with like a in like a drinkish type of. Anyways, read it. It was actually a really dope idea. So I don't know. Go check it out. They might be inspired. Let me see. Medina, favorite track from Medina. Life I've Been Living. That's my shit. Off of the Life Full of L's tape. Make sure you go check that out. Let me see. Shout out to my homie Reckless Beats out there doing his thing, making all the beats, man. He up on BeatStars, so make sure that y'all check him out on BeatStars. He got tracks for everything. Like literally, like he's expanding his his musical palette. You know what I'm saying? Doing a lot of shit. So yeah, definitely shout out to Reckless Beats. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to get super long winded. Oh, one last point. One last point. And I really hope that if there's any part of this that y'all take, y'all really listen to this part. When I started Country Fan Mail, formerly known as Black Wall Music LLC, when I started it because I wanted to have a platform that was specifically about the new and upcoming artists, specifically about the artists that people don't know about, specifically about the artists that's out there grinding, doing their thing, whether it be indie, they can have a label push, I don't really care, but they just, what I'm saying, doing something, they're trying to get their shit out there and giving people another look into them that didn't include drama, didn't include bullshit, didn't include shit like that. That was the whole point behind Country Fan Mail. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the unfortunate reality is that when you're dealing with new and up and coming artists, a lot of times they do new and up and coming artist shit. Like usually they're managing their own calendar, they're managing their own schedule. So so they make mistakes, and you know what I'm saying, sometimes they have too much going on. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many different opportunities, there's so many different things, right? So I feel like my point is saying is that like when I'm dealing when I because the times that I have dealt with artists that actually already had a following, like shout out to Dear Stylist, shout out to Cookie Kawaii, who else did I deal with that had a manager? Shout out to Gabby Gabbana, shout out to J Mac and Focus. You know when I dealt with these artists, shout out to Quan. When I dealt with these artists, they're a little bit more established, and I'm dealing with their managers, and they were on time, they were on schedule, they were on point, and stuff like that. And I mean, of course, that's what you want, right? But it's like I also want that for the artists who ain't big. I also want that. I want that for the artists who's trying to figure it out, because like y'all think this shit isn't important. Like your social media presence, not just your presence, but where people can tap in with the artist. Like that's what your audience wants. That engagement. You know what I'm saying? That opportunity to really get to know a little bit more about you. So my point in saying this, even if you're not a big artist, you're not already popping and shit. You gotta conduct yourself like you are. You gotta conduct yourself like you already out here, like making hella professional moves. You know what I'm saying? I'm like I'm pretty sure there's so many people out here that like literally you gotta act like you're your own manager, label, and all that shit at the same fucking time. You can even act like you're a different person. When somebody sends you an email, by the way, set up an email. If you don't have an email, set up an email. Because you know the DMs on all the social medias don't even be working it right half the time. They be flooded with shit. Like set up an email so serious people can actually get to you. And shit, when you answer your email, you can even answer your email like you a different person. Oh shit. That was a big ass pothole. My bad, y'all. Y'all see me tense up? I was like, before I even hit it. But anyway, like you just gotta get on that grind, because like when you do that shit, like it literally makes you stand out, and it makes it easier for people to access you. You never assess you, have access to you. So it's like you like just open up your mindset, change your mindset to just doing things a little bit differently, and you know what I'm saying, it will have a heck of a result. It'll really have a heck of a result in what you're trying to pull out. I feel like I kept saying that I wasn't trying to be long winded, but I'm driving home, so I kind of felt like I was gonna ramble anyways with my niggas. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talked to y'all in a while. It's been a long time since I feel like y'all have heard from me that wasn't an interview. So hopefully somebody taps in and watches this. Hopefully it gets out to all the right people. You know what I'm saying? Quick recap. Like I said, just treat my podcast like you would treat the big name podcast. Be on time. Have more pride in your work and your image. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to shit like that. And yeah, just be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be honest with yourself, because that's the only time that it's really gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Don't do something because you see other people doing it. You see other people on a podcast run. Don't do a podcast run because you think it look cool. Do it because you feel like you in the place to do a podcast run. Because if you're not in the place to do it, you're gonna waste somebody's time. Clue the Don Country Fan Mail Podcast. I really appreciate y'all tapping in. If y'all haven't already, subscribe to the motherfucking channel. Cookie Kawaii interview dropping this Friday, and we